we're going to be talking about policies, processes and procedures. And if that excites you, then you're in the right place. Well, I'm going to share with you how you can put into place 3 really easy and simple processes that will help you manage your policies, your processes and your procedures. Every organisation should be really clear what their policies are. Policies are your rules of your organisation. They're the laws, they're the things that are put into place and the really clear black and white guidelines of whether your staff can write out a cheque on your behalf and how much they can write that cheque out for, or how much they can take money out of your account, or whether they get to take out a fuel allowance. So it's really clear laws and rules, and you can make that and shape that into your language of your culture, any words that you want, but that is what they are. So your policy are the laws and rules that drive your procedures and your processes. So then what are processes? They are a high-level view of where the tasks are identified. What are procedures then? Well, procedures are really tasks. Procedures are the detailed steps to perform an activity within a process. So policy sets the laws and the actual rules. The process is your high-level view of where those to identify your tasks, and your procedures are your detailed steps. So what does that mean still? Still confused? I'll show you. So let's look at policy first. If the policy was, how do we get to Vision Villas? And it's to something that has to be replicable, something that everyone else has to be able to understand what this means as well, because every single policy procedure that you put into place, every process has to have somebody else pick it up that's never seen it before and be able to understand what it means and actually follow the directions and instructions, because this enables you to stay here in iLAB for a month or longer and keep working on that beach that's watching the surfing competitions and working from your iPad, because you know that your business is going to be run without you in it, as it would be as if you were in it. So how to get to Vision Villas? So the policy is that everyone that goes to Vision Villas might be that they all fly economy, or it might be that they all fly business class. So that's a policy of the company. That when you fly there, that you're going to get picked up from the airport and you're going to get transferred or transported from Vision Villas in a 6-seater vehicle up to, from airport to Vision Villas, from Denpasar up to Guyane. Is that how we pronounce it? Guyane. And our speed rules. So when you actually are in the car, and if you're driving, there's rules of the road. Bali's probably hasn't got as many. Well, they have got rules of the road. I just don't think anyone looks or listens to them. So, with the there's rules to the road. You stay on the left, and sometimes you stay in the middle, but you're supposed to stay on the left. And so that's the policy. You fly economy, you get picked up, and you arrive there, and there's rules to the road. There's speed limits. That's the policy. So they're the rules and laws. So the process. How does that work? Because the process is a high-level view so that we can identify our tasks. So the process, I'm going to show you with a map. So if you are in Australia, we've got whereis.com, and I think it's in other countries as well. And I would put in there, where is the Sydney Convention Centre? And it comes up and it shows me. In this case, I've put on Google Maps, where is Vision Villas? And I'm going to pop over to the PowerPoint. So with Vision Villas, this gives you a real clear outline as to a broad stream, high-level map. It gives you a bit of an idea as to the address, and it gives you the location. So we can identify that the airport's a lot further south than Vision Villas, that we've got to get to the airport and then we've got to get up there. So they're tasks that we've identified that we know we need to put procedures into place for. And so we know by this process that we need to get a car organised, that we need to get people organised, that we need to make sure that people have things with them that they might need. So they're putting into place what's the process that we're going to need to put into place. Well, the third one is the fun one. So this is a procedure. So it's detailed steps of the tasks that we need to do to get to Vision Villas. So going back to the map, I've actually drilled down a little bit more, and I've actually said we need actual directions. Even though we know that it was so many kilometres by the actual last map, this one gives us the actual turn left at 300 metres, turn right at 700 metres, and keep driving for 20 minutes or for another 12 kilometres. So it's really specific, and it also tells us maybe that when we get to Denpasar Airport that you will have a driver waiting for you with a sign that says your name once you get through customs. And he will take you to your car, and then he will bring you to Vision Villas, which is approximately an hour's drive away. So these are the step-by-step opportunities for you to be able to get really clear what the procedures are. So here, we've got the directions, and we arrive at Vision Villas. So for us, this gives us really clear clarity that the actual process and the procedures are different. One is an overview, the procedures are drilling down into making all the details, all the things that could come up, so that somebody else can open up the book after you've typed them all out, or open up Dropbox, find the file and go, right, the next lot of people that I'm sending over to iLAB or to Vision Villas can just follow it. I don't have to explain what the expectations are. So how can you use this back in your business? How can you use the policy, processes and procedures into other areas? So if you were to use, for example, around money, because we all handle money, so the policy might be that only this person is allowed to empty out the PayPal account, and it's got to be signed off by somebody that's maybe person B. So it might be that I would allow my accounts payable person to sign off PayPal account funds up to $500, but it might be that I allow my CFO in my organisation up to $5,000, and it might be that anything over that has to come back to me. So if that's the case, that's the policy. So the process, which is the next step, is who does it involve? Who are the key players? Well, it involves the accounts payable, CFO, and myself, and PayPal. So these are the things that are going to be a part of putting into place this procedure. And then the third thing, the actual procedure, are the tasks. So it means that PayPal gets checked on a daily basis. And when it hits this account amount, then these other things are triggered. And then it's got a step-by-step of how you empty out PayPal. It's got the PayPal login details. It's got all the things, all the tasks that we talked about earlier. And you could even use some stick-it notes to help you drive through some ideas as to what are the things that are the breakdowns here. And then you have got a policy, a process and a procedure in place on one part of your business. You can do the same for every part. What I do and where to start is do the things that come up all the time. And when I've got into place all my procedures, which is now, I've got a procedure, a manual, and everything's in there, and anything that comes up gets updated. So what happens when I get a customer complaint? Or what happens when something comes up that's a real challenge for my team? What we do is we look at, can we create a process or a policy, procedure for it that will enable my team to have the answers for this problem if it comes up again. And usually that's a great opportunity. I love customer complaints or customer queries because they're always an opportunity for me to look at how can I put something back into my business that will enable my team to continue to run more powerfully and more profitably while I'm not showing up in it every day. I trust this has helped, and if you've got any queries, you're welcome to contact me. So it's sandra@businessaccelerate.com.au. Sandra Morell in iLAB in Bali. Thank you. Hi, it's Sandra Morell here from iLAB in Bali. This next section, I'm going to share with you how you can put into place simple procedures that every member of your team can follow when you're relaxing by the beach or in a beautiful villa such as Vision Villas in Bali. If you think it'll be handy not having to show up every day but still have the same things happening in your business and the same quality of things happening as if you were actually there doing them yourself, then this next session's for you. This is a great opportunity for you to understand how you can put into place a simple procedure. And if you're thinking, procedures do my head in, which I know some stars and some creators even, and certainly some supporters, if you're on that right side and you're not into the detail, then this is a simple way for you to work out how I can duplicate what I'm doing in the business at the same quality, the same standard, and have it replicable. Then this one's for you. I've got a simple method of sharing with you, and the technique I use is STAR. The acronym STAR is probably perfect for people that don't love to go through and put into place all the details, because what it does, it gives you a quick reminder of what you need to have when you're thinking about a procedure. So the S in the STAR is for a situation, getting really clear what the situation is in your business. So let's go through. So if you've got a situation that has come up, such as a customer complaint, such as a customer ringing you asking the same question on how to find your business, such as a customer asking what report or what form they need to complete for a download, and you have that recurring on a regular basis. So the situation is something that's constantly happening in your business or a challenge that's happening in your business. So what we need to put into place is a task. So the task that's getting done for that situation is something that we're going to make sure that is the new procedure. So the task to give you the result of a smooth situation, followed by an action. So what are the action steps that we're going to put into place? So we're going to assess the situation, we're going to have a look at what task needs to be done or what's impacted, and then thirdly we're going to go through and look at what action needs to be put into place, and then fourthly is our result. What's the outcome from this situation? So if it is a client that's complained, or a client that can't find something, or one of your team members that can't find something, then what situation do you need to put into place? What task do you need to implement? What action do you want to make happen? And what result do you want as an outcome? So using the STAR acronym for everything that comes up for you when you're looking at procedures, it's a very strong way to remind yourself that you've covered all your bases. You've got to keep things simple. So where to start? A lot of people say to me when I work with businesses, and I've worked with thousands of business owners over the last 20 odd years, where do I start? We've got a business, we've got all excited about the product, and we've started selling it, we've put something online, we've started a shop, we've started a dry cleaning business, or we've started a tyre power business for some, and we actually don't have in place a procedure of what we can do. So one of the things that I look at is how to keep things not just simple, but where to start. So if you've already got team members in place, or even if it's yourself, you're a sole trader and you're the only person in your business and you're doing everything, well, this is a perfect time for you to take some time out and implement these exact procedures. The first thing when you're starting is to actually make a list of every single thing you do. This is quite an interesting thing that happens. When I go into a business, if there's 4 or 5 team members, there might be the receptionist, there might be the accounts payable, receivable, there might be the manager, there might be the mechanic. And what I say is, how about writing down a list of every single thing you do, because we want to see all the different tasks you do. And quite often, people get really excited at this stage because they go, well, no one else realises all the things that I do. I actually work really hard in the business, and people probably don't really acknowledge me for all the different tasks that I undertake. So giving them a blank piece of paper, getting them to write down every single thing that they're doing. So for the role, it might be a reception, and then all the tasks. So task 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. And you might end up with there's 30 or 40 tasks. But what is really powerful to put next to this is the actual frequency. So is it done weekly? Is it done daily? Is it done monthly? Is it done quarterly? Is it done yearly? And this way it gives you an idea whether that task is going to be replicated on a regular basis, quarterly basis, monthly basis, and that way you can really track down the procedure to make sure that there's reminders put into place to make sure that things happen on time as well. So for each team member, identify whether it's weekly, daily, monthly, and then we're going to go back to our team and say, awesome, you've all completed your tasks and your lists. Now what we're going to do is the very first task that you might have put up there, and I'm going to use, for example, something that each of you would probably have an example of because it's a common thing, and it might be how to actually balance off your postage. So you might have your postage as one of your tasks. It was one of the many. And for example, the postage might have to be done every day, and it might have to be done every day at 3 o'clock. So at the top, we're going to write one task now for each page. So postage is one task, and then we're going to put underneath it every little thing that we do to make the postage happen. So we put in here the location of the postage tin, right through to how to take the stamps out and keep track of what stamps you've taken out, right through how to reconcile, right through how to purchase more stamps, right through how to where the post office is. So it might be the location of the nearest post office. It might be how to get there, and if you need to take your own car, whether that's claimable. It might have all of this down here. So whilst postage might be the responsibility or the task of one thing that the receptionist does, this gives a breakdown of every single step or stage of that task. So once we've detailed it, what we can do, and this is really powerful, and this is a step that quite often people miss, is they actually give this task to someone that doesn't normally do the postage. And why you do that is you're getting somebody else to look at this task with fresh eyes. So that person comes in as if they've never done the job before, and they literally work their way through with the person who's just written the procedure standing next to them, and they actually go to take the postage stamps out, to actually find the post office and actually walk themselves right through the procedure. Because what happens is, because we do the task all the time, we can get really familiar with some of the steps and we actually don't write them down. They become part of our unconscious, subconscious memory. So this is really powerful for you to look at how your procedure is going to be effective. The other thing is to locate procedures somewhere really available for the relevant people. Obviously, if you've got financials in your organisation, you might choose to not have them available to your whole team, but they might be available, some of the financial reports, to some of the team. So it's still making sure for every single task in your organisation, the right people have got access to the certain reports that they're allowed to have, and also to the certain procedures that they're allowed to have as well. And it's really important that somebody is responsible for making sure that they're kept up to date, because the biggest challenge is, and I've seen this before, people go to log back into an online store and the password's been changed, and they've gone to the procedures manual and the password hasn't been updated. So who's responsible for making those changes? Make people accountable to make sure that things get put into place. If this looks so simple that you think you can do it, then you're right, you can do it. A lot of people get too caught up with overcomplicating procedures and systems, and they actually don't put them into place. It is this simple. We keep all of our procedures for our organisation in Dropbox. It's a real easy, useful way to, and a tool so that everyone can access the right folders or the right files. The second thing that we do is make sure that every time somebody changes something or updates something, that they update the procedures. I'm going to share with you another little way that you can use, and this is a real powerful way of putting into place some planning of a procedure for an event. What I've done in the past is found that I've had great success with using post-it notes. And you think, how can post-it notes work for me? Because you've never used them before. You've only used them maybe to take little notes. Well, a great way in your planning is to use post-it notes to create a plan to put into a procedure. So I'm going to share with you some simple things that you can do with post-it notes that are incredibly powerful, your whole team can get involved in, and I use these on a regular basis every time I have a new project. So for this project, we're going to call it a project that's going to be running an event, because it's something that we do a lot of. So each time I have a new event coming up, I get my team, the key people that are involved in the event, plus plus the other people that might not be the key people, but the secondary group. So they might be the website guy, they might be the IT person, might be the even accounts payable and receivable, because they all have something to contribute towards the actual running of the event. And what I do is I gather them in and I get them to put into place some key things that they can actually use and some key ideas. So, first off, everyone gets a handful of little stick-it notes, and different colours too, because you've got to keep it fun. And then what I get them to do is to brainstorm all the different things, all the different tasks that we need to have ready for an event that's coming up. So I've prepared some of these earlier, but one might be the website needs to be done. Something else might be tickets need to be done for the event. And what the team do is they gather around and they each write their tasks that they know need to be done for the event, and you write one task per sticky note and it goes up onto a board. And it's best if you can use a really big board. We quite often will use the wall or we'll use a table. So I've got organising the speakers, organising the emails, organising tickets, organising copywriters, organising volunteers, organising the crew, organising testimonials, feedback forms, and I'll go through them really quick, follow-up emails, product, order forms. So you get the gist that we're actually creating a separate task on each stick-it note, venues, room layout, audio visual. And what happens is we end up with a board that looks like this, with lots of different colours, stick-it notes all over it, and it's a bit of chaos. But it's been a bit of fun, and everyone's felt like they've had a lot of involvement in it. So what do we do with that now? So now it's about getting the stick-it notes and actually putting them into some type of time frame. So if I was to look at this, when would I need to maybe talk about getting speakers into place? And that would be right up front of the event. And when would I need to talk about the room layout? Probably a bit further towards the event. When would I be looking for volunteers? Right up front. When would I be looking for order forms for product for sale at the event? Probably closer to the event. And what I do is start putting it along in the timelines. So once I've started creating a timeline, it actually starts looking more like this. And what happens then is I actually have a project plan for an event or for a project, doesn't have to be an event. So if I was to create a website, I could do exactly the same thing as this. I bring all my team in and I say, okay, to create a website, what do we need to do? What are all the different tasks do we need to have? And there might be 30 tasks. So those 30 tasks then get spread out into a timeline. And out of those 30 tasks, there might be some simple things that we keep going back to. So at the end of it, what I do is I step back and I go, what's the situation? We need a new website. What are the tasks? Well, every single stick-it note is a separate task. And these are the extra stick-it notes that I put in there, that we want a great buzzy event, or we want a fantastic outcome, or we want to have 16 sales per day or per month or from our online store. So get really clear as what you want for the result and keep going back to that STAR acronym. What's the situation? What are the tasks? What are the actions we've got to do? And what are the results that we want? And that way you get really clear and stay on purpose and on track with everything that you want to create. So with this, it sounds simple, and it is simple, and simple works. So I use the KISS method, which is keep it simple. Stupid. So keep it so simple that anyone can do it. It's really powerful, it's really easy, people will do it. If it's too complicated and too difficult, people won't even start it and your team will lose interest. This way, everyone gets some involvement. And the second phase of doing your stick-it notes is once it's here, you can take photos of it, you can type it up, and then you can use that as your planning and your guideline and your project time frame or your Gantt chart, whatever terminology you want to use in your organisation. But we just call it an event planning system or an event planning process. keep it simple, and then what we do is we put people's names to it. So the next phase is to go through and say who's responsible for each area. So who's going to own the website? And we start off putting their initials, and it might be, you know, John's going to do the copywriting. It might be that Jules is going to organise the crew. It might be the product's getting organised by Shiraz. So we make sure that we're really clear that we've got everything in place. So with your planning, these are some top tips that I'm going to leave you with. So do it with your team. Make sure your team, everyone that's involved in the actual outcome, are involved in the planning process. This way that you'll get that real ownership from everybody, and they'll be really on task and on track and motivated to make sure that the results are there for everybody. Use one sticky note per task. Don't overcomplicate things. Don't make it too messy as far as confusing, and make sure that every little thing that you've thought of is accounted for, and people have involvement. Don't discount any ideas. Sometimes we get some wild and wacky thoughts and ideas around tasks, and include them as well. Be colourful. People love seeing the different colours, and that helps trigger people, you know, feeling involved. And if you're somebody that is a high-end creative person, this type of planning that you can see visually is really powerful. And spread it out. Make sure you spread it out onto a big long wall, a massive big whiteboard, or onto a big table, a big boardroom table I've seen work perfectly, and everyone stood around it and been able to get really clear as to what the map of the event looks like. And take pictures of it. Make sure that you lock it in so that it's there and you can type it all up, and that somebody's got ownership of it, that you've got an ownership against every task and a time frame against every task as well. I hope and trust that this has helped you put into place some planning processes for your businesses, because what it empowers and enables you to do is step out of your business. And until you put duplicable and replicable systems into place that other people can look at and see and run without you showing up in your business, then you're going to keep getting caught back on the phone. You're going to keep tracking things and emailing things, and you're going to lose track of being able to stay working on your business rather than working in your business. I'm Sandra Morell. Thank you very much.